you everyone for joining us for our Latino talk sessions. Our topic is Latinas and social media. We have a great cast here. We have our very own Vivian Acosta, Director of Social Media for Cricket Wireless. And we have Valerie Burgos, actress and social media influencer, and Crystal Vargas, percussionist and eighth grade teacher. That's probably the hardest job I think of all, right? But I appreciate everyone being here. You know, we're with our Latino Talk series during Hispanic Heritage Month. The topic that we have, the theme that we have going on is breaking barriers. And we would love to hear more from all three of you of your daily lives on social media. And take it away, Vivian.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Alex, thank you so much for the invitation to be part of this activity and for the opportunity to talk to Crystal and Valerie, that are incredible content creators and just have incredible stories and very talented. We're gonna start with some intro. So I'll start and then I'll pass it over to Crystal. I am Vivian Acosta. I've been with with AT&T for it'll be 9 years later this month. Um, I started with the Cricket social media team as doing Hispanic social media, and after that, I moved over to the AT&T social media team. I worked on diversity social media with AT&T. I also spent a couple of years working with the AT&T Latin America team, supporting DirecTV Latin America and Sky Brazil. And as of almost 3 years ago, I came back to Cricket to lead the social media team. So just have always have been able to spend a lot of time on social media and excited to get to work with the Cricket brand. But always, even the times when I have not necessarily worked with the Latino market, it always pulls me back. So it's always exciting. So I'll pass it over to Crystal. And Crystal, introduce yourself and tell us about yourself and also how you got started with social media as well.
Thank you, Vivian. Hi, everybody. My name is Crystal Vargas. I'm an eighth grade social studies teacher. So if we want to start with a prayer, we can right now. I'm also a professional percussionist. That kind of happened by mistake. I grew up around salsa music my entire life. My dad was and it still is, a bass player and had a band for many, many years. And I fell into playing percussion. That has been with me my entire life. I was very big into education and sports. And so music was sort of third on the list. Went through life, went through college, earned my teaching certification and master's degree. And now I'm in my 18th year of education. I taught 10 years of high school first, eighth grade now this is my 8th year. And as far as the musician side, that is completely an unexpected career that has taken off through social media, initially with Instagram, and then of course with TikTok, helping live content creators especially. And this is basically what I do. I work 7 days a week between teaching and performing, and absolutely loving life doing it. So.
And Crystal, the other day when we talked, you said that it was your students that encouraged you to start your TikTok account.
Yes, they were pressing me, Ms. Vargas, have a TikTok. I'm like, no, it's too much social media. I can't even handle Instagram. Like, leave me alone. Come on, please. It could be for our class. So it started out as an educational page, and then I threw in a couple of percussion videos, and those videos started to go viral. And I'm like, oh man, I think I should throw in more music and then filter in some teaching aspects of my life. And then here we are much later, 2 years later, and still doing both, the drumming thing more so, and then of course throwing some teaching bits in there as well.
Amazing. Awesome. Valerie, can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got started with social?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Burgos. I actually started with my TikTok right before the pandemic hit, and it really was just my outlet for creativity. I was doing my TikToks, my acting skits on social media, and then because I work primarily with a lot of Latinos, I decided to do videos where I compared different words amongst different countries, and that took off like crazy. All of a sudden, I had a lot of people commenting, "Oh my goodness, in my country we say this, in my country we say this. Oh, find a Guatemalan, find a Honduran to do this video with," and that's really how I popped off on TikTok, if that's even eligible to be said here. But afterwards, I started noticing that there was a lack of representation when it came to Latinos that were Hispanic parents, but they were raised partially in the US. And so a lot of Hispanics were feeling like they weren't Hispanic enough because they didn't speak fluent Spanish or because they didn't live in their homelands. And because I felt for them, I started doing videos where I was kind of explaining there is no perfect Spanish, there is no perfect Latino. And let me at least do some kind of skits where somebody can feel relate to, like they can relate to, and they can be like, oh, hey, mommy, papi, look at this video. That's me. So that's really how I got started with my TikTok. And then I started posting it on my Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you bring that up of, of the experience of the unique experience and how that experience seems to be underserved in media and in social media as well of how we connect our cultural background to our identity and how that manifests in every day, right? And how it impacts how the world perceives us. Um, and you mentioned that you were born here in the States, and your parents, your both of all three of us are Puerto Rican, right? Your
Yeah.
parents are Puerto Rican, yes. So, and I think Crystal, you've had the same experience. I was born in Puerto Rico, and I only came here when I was 25 years old for a 3-month work project. I was supposed to go back after 3 months, and 15 years later, I'm still here. So the way that I connect, the way that I present, and that people perceive my connection to my cultural background seems to be different from you, and a lot of people don't take that into consideration. I think also, that is a good segue into I just made a note when both of you were talking that it's interesting how how you guys have had this experience, right, with your background, and have reached out and built a social media community around two things that are so unique about our culture, one of them being music, in Puerto Rican Puerto Rican music. Percussion is very big. You hear all those drums that are the influence of Africans that came to Puerto Rico, brought by the Spanish, and we very much carry it all the way through. And then Valerie, you brought that, you built your community and reached out and found so much connection, showing, like the unique slang that all the different, even though all Latin American nations, we all speak the same language. We all have very unique slang. We all have different accents, and it's very nuanced, and it's really funny when we are able to all get together, and have a good laugh and share that. So I think that's a very, very cool, and I just wanted to highlight that for the group. um so with that, let's see. We've talked about your cultural background, but and how it's shaped your content, and then also how it's shaped your online presence as a Latina. Moving on, so can you guys talk a little bit more about how you balance authenticity, so staying true to your roots while working with brands and maintaining a strong social media presence?
you want me to go first? Valerie, do you want to go first?
If we want to continue this pattern, that way we can always
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So for me, as far as like the authenticity part of what I do, I really love TikTok, because with TikTok, I don't have to be a glamorous Crystal. I can just kind of throw myself out there, who I am as a teacher, dragging my literal ass to class after a gig, and then coming home and doing it all over again. With what I do on TikTok musically, especially on live, I play all genres of music. But of course, I will cater to Latin music. A lot of my followers are Latin people, and but you'll notice there'll be people from Africa, from Europe, from Asia popping in, and I'll be playing salsa or merengue, and people just absolutely loving it. And so I, as far as the music is concerned, because salsa is my foundation, I implement that, but I also cross it into American music, and I'll play rhythmic patterns that are derived from Cuba into a house music song, and people notice that stuff. And I do it without even thinking. And people, I believe that the following has grown because I'm literally myself. I'm on there, I'm emceeing, I'm just being who I am. As far as being authentic, I think this is the place where we need to be, or as authentic as we can be. It's our page, it's our resume, and there's no reason to shy away from who you are, how you speak. My Spanish is broken, and I will speak Spanish on TikTok, half English, half Spanish, and I throw it in there, and they find it hilarious. But truly, the platform that I have, I'm fortunate to say that people embrace me for who I am, and how I put out my art, with no filter.
And I guess I'll piggyback off of that. I actually love the fact that I can rely on other content creators. Like, my favorite ones are Carlos Emanuel and Señor Edison. They're my two little boricuas on TikTok that I can sometimes go to their page and learn a little bit more about my own culture. Because I never said I was perfect. I never said I was 100% Boricua. And I am willing to say that on social media and showcase, hey, I'm still learning. Hey, this is what I've been learning to this point, while I'm still being authentic to what I am. And I know I'm Boricua. I know that my dialect, there are a lot of discrepancies and a lot of reasons why people make fun of Puerto Ricans, because we don't pronounce everything perfectly, and decimos todo tirado ahí. But even then, I remember I made one video where every time I would put on my glasses, I would speak this really nice formal Spanish, and every time I would take it off, I would pronounce the exact same thing that I'm reading, but in Puerto Rican Spanish. And just by doing that, people were like, yes, and that's true. We can take it on and off whenever we want to. And it's that kind of support that I hope I'm transmitting to other Boricuas who feel like they're not enough.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so what role do you believe social media plays in amplifying voices and stories of the Latino community, and how can let's start there. I'll ask the follow-up question afterwards. So Crystal, do you want to go first? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. Can you repeat the first part? Because
yes,
I was ready to hear the
What role do you believe that social media plays in amplifying the voices and stories of the Latina and Latino community?
First of all, social media is the place to do it. If you're going to amplify any voice, we have a literal free opportunity to do so. And again, a lot of this for me anyway was by mistake. And I know I was kind of forced into doing TikTok, and then I realized, man, I can use this platform for something bigger than what I'm doing here as a musician, as a teacher? What message am I sending out? And one of the things that I do in my TikTok live, when I'm playing music of different cultures, I have a flag that has all the world flags on this one flag. Like I'll throw the Puerto Rican flag up and dale, dale, Boricua. And then I bring everyone else into it, and people lose their mind, you know, spamming the likes or sending gifts, which is crazy. But, you know, the platform is just giving me an opportunity to connect with people, and then again throw my own personal message in there. And I'm huge on respect and kindness and inclusivity, and I'll like low-key be doing a preaching little sermon on the side while I'm playing congas, but the message is there. And my students, a lot of times they do come into it and they love it. And their parents, they see me during back to school night. We love your lives. Oh my gosh, thank you. And I'm like, no, thank you, because I know that they're listening. Again, the music aside, that's cool, but I have an opportunity to use this bigger platform for a bigger purpose, and just spreading that positivity out in the world.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Valerie?
And honestly, I don't think any TikToks or any videos online need to be perfect. Honestly, there's always somebody out there that will relate, and they're going to be like, if she could get in front of a camera and speak her truth, then I can do the same exact thing. And I've had a couple of comments like that, and that just inspires me to do the next video, even if it barely gets any views. It's just the fact that I made somebody smile. I made somebody feel encouraged to pursue their dreams and get out there, because regardless, getting on social media is a confidence thing. And confidence translates to any aspect, whether it's your professional life, at school, with your family. And so if I can just poner un granito de arena, como dice mi mamá, then I feel like I did something with my video.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, I'm on my in my work, I've worked with creators, you know, from being the brand that brings in creators to tell stories, but then also managing the brand's social media channels and creating content for the social media channels. We do. Oh no, I think we lost Valerie. Well, I'll keep.
So sorry.
Oh, there she is. All right. Yeah, so just, you know, from the brand's perspective, we always attempt to do the same, right? And especially whenever we're working on, say, a Hispanic Heritage Month campaign, or, you know, any other segments, right? I always push for the importance of the brand never telling people stories. It's always, we have to lend our platform to let other people tell their own stories. Number one, because that's authenticity is really what brings connection. But I think as brands, we have our responsibility to give a voice to communities that have been underrepresented. So I think that's really important, and I love to hear you guys approach your own channel and your own brand in the same way. Also, something else as you guys were talking that made me think as well is we often hear and see articles online of social media is so dangerous for kids and for teenagers, and there's so much bad stuff on TikTok, etc. But if you use the platform the right way, and you search and use it somewhere where you can learn or find inspiration, and you look for inspiration, or a place that it's almost like your canvas where you can create, it's so wonderful. And I think you two are such a great example of that, right? And it's really great to, I mean, I've mostly always been in teams where I may be the only Latina or one of few Latinas. So it's always really nice when I find other people like me having similar experiences with similar backgrounds, and just like celebrating these aspects of our culture that are just so familiar and just really inspiring. So just wanted to add that to what you guys just shared. All right. So, as a Latina influencer, how do you approach discussing social issues, important social issues? And maybe we can focus. There's a couple that I'll prompt you guys with a couple, and then you can choose with anything that resonates. But one thing that for me, I often try in my work, try to solve for and try to push for is fair representation in media of Latinos, but also often it's a fair representation of Latina women. We are always, I think, we are one of the groups that have been turned by the media. Often we've been turned into cartoons, or caricature versions that I think are very limiting. So, seeing that you have figures that are over sexualized, or figures that are represented as emotionally unstable, right? Like the crazy Latina woman. But we rarely in movies and stories, we rarely ever see them be represented as the voice of reason in a story, or just like the person that kept their cool, or the person that found the solution, or the person that empowered the group to just reach whatever goal. And I feel like that's a really important issue. I think that obviously you guys, through your work, you're challenging those stereotypes. But want to see if you guys have ever addressed it on your platforms, and if this is something that you guys ever openly discuss.
Mm. So fortunately for me, the feedback, even in the comments and the threads, it's been positive 99% of the time. And you'll get a couple of comments in there. For example, shouldn't you be cooking instead of playing congas? Okay, I can throw down in the kitchen. So for me, it's cool and I can flip that. It when it does come across, so obviously as a teacher, everything that I do and say has to be appropriate, and the clapbacks have to be appropriate, and you have to just make sure that you don't allow trolls to bring you down, because it's obvious that we're doing well. And as a female percussionist, that in itself, no matter the race, just a female no, just being a female percussionist in itself is different, especially for men to see, wow, she's a drummer. You don't see that very often. I address it as appropriately as I can. It's what I do, it's what I know. And if I even got into my sports life, it's funny. I actually played college softball on scholarship. I played at Rutgers University here in New Jersey. But before college, I played baseball, and a lot of people don't know that about me on social media. I don't bring too much sports stories in there, but I played baseball with the boys all the way through high school. And I am so used to being in environments where I'm the only female, and then throw on top of that the only Latina. But for the most part, it has been positive feedback, and I certainly don't feel discouraged when people have things to say. I'm very confident in what I do, and I think that comes from just being happy with what I do, and I'm doing it for myself first, and that's why I feel like it's very difficult for anybody to chip away at my joy. The lives that I do, again, even men, they'll say, oh, vaya nena, keep going, you're a percussionist, we love to see it. And again, if you you address the negativity here and there, but really sometimes people are sort of set in their ways and they're set in their mindset. I think that we're doing much more by maybe not saying anything and just keep doing it, and they see it so often on their pages. It's like, we've already won that battle, that conversation. So
Yeah, I love that. How about you, Valerie?
Well, in my aspect, I had encountered, of course, the stereotypes of Boricuas can't speak, Boricuas are like this, like that. And there was actually one time where I decided to do a video where I compared different Hispanics, the point of views that I got by being Hispanic in the United States. And amongst
Okay.
that was, I live in Georgia, and if you speak Spanish or you look Latino, you're Mexican. Olvídate de los, forget all the other countries, you're just Mexican. And it was really hard growing up and trying to find my identity amongst a lot of Americans and being one of 5 Hispanics. And the only other Puerto Rican I had around was my brother, who was younger than me. So in my social media, whenever I hear any kind of stereotypes, I quickly shrug it off, and then I confuse them, I want to say, because the very next video they will see, I'm either speaking all Spanish or I'm speaking all English. So my stereotypes have been all over the place. They don't know what I am. And honestly,
Yeah.
that's sometimes how I feel.
Yeah.
So I haven't really encountered any backlash when it comes to stereotypes other than the stereotypes that there is with being Puerto Rican.
Yeah. 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 And I think there's 2 things that came to mind. I think, Crystal, hearing you, it's, the power of telling your own story and telling and really like telling your own story and sticking to your authentic self. So you are controlling your own narrative, and that's so powerful. And so are you, Valerie. And I think, but also, what your experience that you're sharing, it makes me also think about, there's a lot of opportunity for people to learn about to really learn about the nuances of being Latino and of the experience of being Latino in the US, and that even things that might be a joke or might be said with the intention of a silly comment or teasing, they carry a lot of weight and they hurt, and they go deep. The other day, I was talking to somebody about microaggressions just in general, and I said, microaggressions are like icebergs, right? They often, when they happen, they are often brushed off or not necessarily addressed, because on the surface they appear like, oh, that was so, and that's how so and so's sense of humor is, or they didn't mean anything by it, etc. So it never really gets addressed. But just like an iceberg, they cut so deep. And it's really difficult, and I think it's something that we all overcome. So and I feel like it's good for the group, right, to hear you share that and share that experience. So thank you so much for doing that. So moving on. So let's talk about how you stay connected with your audience. So and how you foster a sense of community. So Crystal, you talked about the lives. I think maybe for the good of the group, can you walk through the group on like what a live is on TikTok, how how long you're on, how the comments work, etc., and how you interact, and then Valerie will do the same with you.
Sounds good. So I live stream from home in my second bedroom that has become a music studio. And basically I treat it like a show. I am DJing, playing all different types of music. I have a vocal mic. Everything is live streamed with high quality audio. And it blew up once I started giving people shout outs. So I'm asking people to drop their flags. Let me know where you're from. What song requests? What are we listening to? How old are you? So I know what type of music I should be playing. I'll do a whole disco set for an hour and people are freaking out, or freestyle music, and so it's a big party vibe. It's funny because when I live stream, everything goes into my ears. No one could hear music in my apartment complex, but I'm sure people can obviously hear me yelling on the mic, like just getting crazy. And I laugh. I'm like, my neighbors must think I'm nuts, but I'm having a blast. And I try to live stream a few times a week. It gets crazy with my personal schedule because I am performing at other functions here in New Jersey, New York. But when I live stream, it's about 1 to maybe 2 hours, depending on how crazy it is inside the live. But we have different theme lives. So on Wednesday, when I go on Wednesdays, it's for Wednesdays. Thirsty Thursdays, Sunday Fun Day or Manic Mondays. So we theme it out. I connect with the people from all different parts of the world, and we do throwbacks, and it's just a good time. A lot of people come in, they're like, man, I was feeling crappy today, but your live got me like super amped up. So give me okay. That's awesome. So yeah, so that's the background in my second bedroom nonetheless. And we just it's a good time. And let me tell you, like I said, the shout outs, forget about it. People love to be shouted out when you're on live, and then you kind of get to know people. You just get to know people, and you recognize someone from Texas or from Florida. Oh, so and so from Brooklyn is back in the live, and it has become a really, really cool community of music lovers. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
I actually haven't been going live like I used to. I used to go live every so often whenever I had a special event or I was getting ready for anything. I kind of took a break, like a mental health break from my TikTok.
Okay.
To kind of evaluate my content and really the reason why I was doing it. And oh God. And I have found that a lot of people are doing the exact same. They're kind of stepping away from their social medias and reevaluating, especially after the new algorithm took over, because now everything is going to vlogs. And if you're not a vlogger, you're kind of like, okay, so what do I do next? So I'm trying to revamp my content to adapt to this new algorithm. But what I have noticed that has worked for other people that have done lives like Crystal, they will put on their title, so and so mentioned you in their live. And so when I get the notification, they mention me, and then I go in there, and of course that's clickbait. But I was like, that is the smartest clickbait I've ever seen. It got me into their live. So if everybody does it, it's no longer going to work. But I have noticed a few people doing that, and it has worked for them. So
yeah. And Valerie, and how do you do a lot of in your comments when you get reactions from people to your videos, do you interact with the comments too? Earlier you mentioned that you stay connected with other creators. Do you message each other and see if you can collab? Are there any other ways in which you're using the platform to engage with others?
I've gotten a few messages to collab in the past. And because I follow the same TikTok creators on Instagram, whenever they succeed, I'm commenting on there. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. And vice versa. Whenever they see that I post something, they're giving me the same amount of support. I don't know if it's like guilt tripping, but it feels nice to be like, oh, okay, I know them from social media and now they're becoming my friends.
Yeah.
And then my comments, of course, I would respond to as many comments as possible. Or I would be like, oh, how would you say this in your country? Or how would you say that in your country? And people were quickly commenting, no, it's not sorbeto, it's solbillo, no, it's popote. And that in itself became a whole topic of conversation in my comments.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And something that I've noticed whenever we've done different, we'll do different campaigns with different groups of creators, for, whether it's like a product launch or some of our sponsorships, etc. But a couple of years ago, we did a campaign with creators for a Hispanic Heritage Month. And without fault, every single one of them, well, whenever we've worked with Latino creators for anything, without fault, when they post the sponsored post, right? Like the post where they're talking about working with Cricut, etc. They have so many people on the comments being like, this is amazing, congratulations. Hey, Cricut, you did a great choice choosing my friend. So they're all, and I've seen it a little bit in creators that are from other groups and demographics, but with Latinos, it's just like always, they're just like rooting for each other, which is really, really nice to see. So that's exciting that you have had that same experience, Valerie. Okay, so let's talk about trends and the social media landscape and opportunities that you guys see for are either have been seen recently or have been seeing that they're starting to shift and the platforms are moving forward specifically for Latinos.
Valerie, you may have to help me answer this question. Can you hear? I don't know if I'm still lagging. Sorry.
I think
So trends Latinos.
So I think I've noticed, like I said before, everything is turning into is shifting into vlog, and a lot of the Latino creators have gone to vlogging as a way to stay relevant and keep their community intact. And although that is beneficial in the way of getting to know you a little bit more, because now you're speaking a lot more in your videos, it is removing a little bit of it's not as condensed, the information. And so if you don't have the
quick
patience to watch, if it's not a 1 minute video and you don't have the patience for a 1 minute video, you're quickly going to the next thing. So I don't know if it's giving Latinos the chance to really explain themselves fully. They have to be really quick to say, this is why you need to learn this about Boricua. So this is why you need to do this. And only a few have been able to adapt to that, that I've noticed.
So can you share with the group what you mean when it's been the algorithm has shifted to more of a blog approach? And you're talking about the TikTok algorithm, right?
Yeah. If your video is very short, it will even give you a suggestion at the bottom. Longer videos are to reach a wider audience or something like that. And whenever I open my TikTok now, it's like, get ready with me to go to this. Get ready with me to get to this. It's no longer let me learn about the culture or let's do quick skits about the Latino culture. It's like get ready with me in Spanglish.
Yeah.
And so it's really getting to know the content creator, but not so much getting to know them for the heritage, which is where I was starting out.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So like the format of the video seems to be they want it to be longer. And then it seems like the platform TikTok wants you to create longer videos, but then the format of those videos, or I guess the writing for the video, needs to be one in which you're able to grab people and get them to stay long enough. Stay long enough so then they'll watch enough of the video to want to get to know you more.
Yeah.
I see. And what about you? And how about what is something that whenever for the past few years, whenever we start talking about Hispanic Heritage Month or Latino specific campaigns, we talk about the term Latinx. So, and it's what's the correct way to what does the term Latinx mean? And then, what is like the term that we should be using as a brand? Do you guys have any, anything that you can share on that conversation in terms of like, what your understanding is of the term Latinx and how it's used and its appropriate use? And then how if you see any way in which adoption of the term is evolving, or do you think like more people are rejecting it? I personally think it's very subjective. It's up to the person, right? But I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well.
So I am gonna be 40 years old this year, and I am still trying to keep up with different hashtags. In cases where I do post and I use a hashtag, I usually put Latinos, Latinas, and I keep it at that. I haven't fallen into the Latinx vocabulary, not for any other reason other than it's just not, it's not a conscious thing. Certainly by no means do I mean to offend if I say Latinos and I mean everybody. But in my hashtags, again, I usually use both feminine and masculine terms. I haven't had those conversations through my feed at all. And it could be a generational thing because a lot of my followers are a little older and a lot of them are actually much older than me. And I feel like, maybe I'm just like a little lost in the sauce sometimes just because of my age. I bank on my 8th graders to teach me. I'm like, hey guys, make sure you tell me what the new slang is. No cap, no this, no that. You tell me and I'll use it. But yeah, so it's not something on my at the forefront of my thinking when I'm creating content. Especially because a lot of what I post is just musical and I don't speak too much on my actual posts.
Right.
But yeah, so that's where I fall.
Yeah. How about you, Valerie?
I don't have the dictionary definition of what a Latinx really is. I would say I believed it was the generation of Hispanics that are coming into the United States. They're either being born in the United States or they're being raised in the United States. And so they're Latinos, but they have a little bit of an edge, like an American edge to them. It really is a hit or miss because there are a few Latinos that want to be called Latinos because they fully embrace that. And there are some that are completely like they know what it really means. So I think it's more of expanding everyone's knowledge so that we all have the same definition of it.
Yeah.
And then we can really use it freely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I agree with you guys. I definitely think it's, personal choice, right? And often whenever I've had these conversations here, as the brand, I'm always like, again, it's not the job of the brand to decide what is correct. I think this is very much part of each individual's story. And I think it's more about opening the conversation and, hearing each other out, rather than trying to define it and land on what's correct or not. But once again, Crystal, you keep, whenever I've asked you about these type of questions, it seems like people just are in such a different mindset whenever they're interacting with your content, because they're just like having a good time and like enjoying the music. And like, again, goes to show the power of art, the power of music, and how it really can bring us all together, even if we don't agree on anything. So that's really wonderful. Okay, so we have 15 minutes left. I want to give the group an opportunity to ask you guys questions. I would keep asking you guys questions. I love hearing from you guys, but I want to give the rest of the group an opportunity. So we're gonna open the mic, and Alex, I'll let you tell me how it works, how we start going through the questions, or maybe if it works better, you guys want to type your questions on, and you want to no, but let's do raised hands. I think that might be better, and then I'll start calling.
Let's see how Ashley has it set up. Ashley, do you prefer we do raise hands or ask the questions in the chat?
Yeah, if someone raises their hand, then I can get them unmuted. So we can do it that way.
All right. So if anybody wants to raise their hand, feel free, and we'll unmute you, or you can ask the question in the chat. In the meantime, I want to play some clips here that I found pretty cool online. This is one of them. This is Crystal here jamming out. It looks like a fashion show of some sort. And people are just jamming. Everybody has their cameras on. So I found this pretty interesting. I really appreciate you all coming on here, sharing your stories with us and how social media can either make you or break you. And you guys built a platform to make it and inspire others. I found another cool one from somebody skydiving here. Right? I don't know how old this is, but I think these are all pretty cool videos. And, you know, just looking at these videos inspire, you know, young Latinos and older Latinos. Like, you know, I'm in the crystal age group there. So, you know, it inspires me both of what you do. But in the meantime, does anybody have any questions? Feel free to chat. Let me check the chat now. Um, no, nothing yet. But if anybody has any questions before we wrap it up, feel free, raise your hand or ask questions. If you all want to add any closing remarks, feel free to do so as well. Anything you want to share, Valerie? Let's start closing it off. And it seems like everyone's pretty much all set.
Oh, I think we have a raised hand.
Okay,
Brandy.
Brandy. She did land safely, by the way. Sorry, I cut the video.
Should be able to ask.
I'm alive.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say thank you because it was very informative, everything that you guys said. And I think it was Valerie that said something that hit me also, because I know I take so many videos and I'm always wanting to post, but I feel like, oh, I have to check it later. Like, I feel like it has to be perfect, but like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just post it, you know? And who cares, like, if it's not perfect, not everybody's gonna, you know, because I have so much content and I have so many things because I have so many kids, and so I'm always like recording them or me, or we're always doing stuff, but I'm like, oh, I gotta check it. Like, I feel like I'll do it later. And so I just got motivated to go ahead and get back on my TikTok. And Crystal, I started following you because I got to join those lives. So thank you, ladies.
Well, yeah, I'll share both of their TikTok handles in the chat shortly, so that you guys can follow them and stay up to date with them. We have a question from Doris. Any advice that you can give the young Latinos who use social media and want to share their hispanidad?
I'll chime in real quick, Doris. Listen, I think TikTok is awesome because you can put the most unfiltered content and it can blow up the very next day. Certainly, once you start getting into the rhythm, you may put more thought into it and wanting to edit a little bit more, or using certain template trends and things like that. But if someone's just starting out new, to be honest, I say just throw what you have out there, and then it becomes a lot easier. And then the flow of things just kind of starts to click once you figure out what your niche is and what your lane is and what you want to portray. But I think just getting right into it, just giving yourself an opportunity to just do it. Put this 30-second clip of you cooking, or 30-second clip of you eating something that mom made, and you're doing a review on something. I certainly love to scroll on TikTok and see people who are just true to themselves. You can't miss if you're true to yourself. In my opinion, that is just the best way. So I say dive right in. No thinking. Just go right into it and just start blowing up.
And I'll piggyback off of that. Honestly, I had no clear vision of this is what my TikTok is going to be, and I'm still figuring out myself. But as long as you're doing something that makes you happy, makes you laugh, if you watch your videos and you're like, wow, this was a really good video, and only one person saw it, give it time, let it stay in your page, and eventually it might actually blow up, like Crystal said, because I have had those kind of moments where a super old video all of a sudden being pushed by TikTok. So I would definitely keep doing it. You never know what kind of opportunities you can get through that. I've had a crazy amount of opportunities. And the biggest one I want to say, I actually got to do a sponsorship with Coca-Cola just because of my videos. I would have never in a million years expected that. And it's one of those things that you just Gotta dive in, be true to yourself, and people will come to you. And if they don't, they don't. You did something that made you happy, somebody else smiled because of you. So just take that as a nugget.
Awesome. And you can add Hacemos and AT&T ERG to that list of Coca-Cola, right? So being on platforms.
This was
hey, I gotta give us
definitely
a
an
shout
amazing
out too.
experience too, Alex.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I did want to ask Vivian a question. Vivian, if you give advice to Crystal and Valerie, because I know for a fact, Vivian, from when you started to now, you're always looking for talent to
Yeah.
bring to the cricket platform, because cricket is very unique when it looks for talent and it likes to look for organic talent. What advice would you give Crystal or Valerie?
I mean, I think keep doing what you're doing. I actually I've already made myself a note that I need to follow up with the two of you. But I think yes, keep doing what you're doing. I'm really I the other day when we first talked, I was saying, I was like, I'm shocked that I've never seen your content before because I spend so much time on the platform. But then it goes to show like the amount of content that's out there. But I think it's so great that you guys have built such great communities, that you have such like your brands are powerful because you're so authentic and you guys are true to yourselves. And so I really don't have any advice for you guys. I don't think you need my advice. You guys are doing it already. But I wanted to say, like, I feel very inspired, and I hope the rest of the team feels, and the rest of the group feels really inspired by Valerie and Crystal, by, sharing their passions, showing up truly as they are, and just like seeing how the communities build and it follows. And yeah, I think it's amazing. But yeah, I'll definitely be following up with you too, and we can talk about other opportunities. I know that we're close to time. I do wanted to, if there's no other questions, wanted to say, I hope that some takeaways for the group here, at least like my takeaways as a reminder, are, like I just said, let's everybody should find inspiration in showing up as our authentic selves, in finding the confidence to tell our story, in not chasing perfection, but just going out and publishing the video or publish a tweet or post a post, publish your blog, etc., and create and share your story. But then also, as far as like the Latino segment and the Latino demographic in general, I think, you know, people should not be afraid to have the conversations and to ask questions. I often find people that are fearful about asking me stuff, stuff about like, what is Puerto Rico's relationship with the US government? And they're so embarrassed to ask me that question. And I'm like, no, if you have a question, if you don't know, I'll talk to you about it and I'll share that with you. So I hope that, I hope you guys understand the power that asking those questions from a place of curiosity, it's really powerful. Also, take away that, Latino culture and Latinos are such a diverse community, and that our culture is extremely nuanced too. And that's really where a lot of the beauty and yeah, a lot of the beauty and what makes it so special and what makes us all love it so much. So I think being curious about that, it's really powerful. And yeah, and those are the things that I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you so much, Alex, for all the work you do with Hacemos here at AT&T. And I know that you don't work alone. I know that you have a big team that supports you. So thank you for all of you guys, because you guys are nourishing this community within the organization that has made a huge difference for me and my career. And it creates a lot of opportunities for many other people. So thank you. Oh, you're on mute, Alex.
No, I was saying thank you so much. We really love what we do. I would say 99% of us do it from the heart because of a passion that we have and helping our people, our community, and our peers. We get to build a lot of relationships. I like to thank all of our Hacemos members on this call, our national president, Don Cordero, and Ashley Hertz for helping me set this up while I was very deep in work. They stepped in right away to give me a hand, and all of you ladies for saying yes when I made the call. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to going and watching your content and lives. And Vivian will bump into each other in the hallways for sure.
Yeah.
But
for
thank
sure.
you all. Thank you everyone. I appreciate you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.